So my good buddy Ryan DeMay and I, who do the Turfcast podcast together.
I feel like you're Exhibit and we're on MTV and you're going to pimp my lawn.
If you haven't checked that out, make sure to go over to ryannorlawncare.com/podcast. We've talked about on there a few times, though, that many people don't think about the fact that a 72-degree day, super low humidity, and very windy conditions can dry out a lawn drastically just in one day compared to maybe 85 and really humid conditions. So a lot of people think that as it gets hotter, then you're going to instantly get dried out. But it really depends more on your humidity conditions a lot of times and your wind conditions, sun intensity, lots of different things that go on. But what you will want to pay attention to are dry spots in the lawn, and they're going to start to show in this early summertime if you haven't been getting a lot of irrigation or rainfall. As I look across the yard, I took a picture of this yesterday. You'll see this bluegrass just glowing green, and then you'll see a couple of off-color spots that you can definitely tell are dried out. So I did put some irrigation on this last night. We're going to investigate to see what may be going on in these spots. So I think that it's going to show on camera yet today, but right here is the spot that is super dry. So first of all, I'm going to take my soil probe. I'm going to see if I can even get into the ground here. So you'll see right there, really hard soil. So maybe there's a spot there of some kind that doesn't match the rest of this, but let's take an actual plug around this and see if there's a difference. This would be a green spot out here. So you can see here that's better, still fairly dry overall. I don't see any sort of rock in there or anything underneath the surface that would tell me that there's something that needs to be removed. What I want to test next is to see if water is actually going in and soaking into the spot or if it's just running off. So that was a lot of water, but you can even see from this hole that I pulled that it's not really seeping down in there. It's not soaking down into the ground. So I would consider this maybe just more of a localized dry spot. What happens with that is that for some reason this area gets crusty. It's not taking in the water and soaking it down. So what I like to do is take something that's going to break that surface tension and put it on here and see if we can get the water to soak in. Usually I'll just take the soil loosener from Simple Lawn and put that on there and put a pretty heavy dose on here and then see if it will soak itself back in. This is just straight water now. Try one more spray here. I want to see though if I'm getting a lot of water runoff in general. Yeah. You can see it is soaking in, but still fairly slow. So let's see what this does. So I'm just rinsing with straight water now. I just apply a little bit of the product and then I work it in with the straight water. And you'll see it in person. You can see it start to bubble. And you can see it just start to soak right down in. So now let's stop this. You're gonna watch it go right down into the soil. Pretty crazy. So for those of you with a sandy soil, or even if you have a more clay-based soil that gets a crust on top, it's hard for water to get through it, then using something like that to make sure that you're utilizing your water properly, it's very important because you don't want your water to just be running off into the neighbor's yard or running off into the street or sidewalks. You want to make sure that it's actually soaking in. We have a product with Lawn Supply as well called Soaker that you can apply to the whole yard, or that Simple Lawn you can apply to the whole yard and make sure that everything is soaking down and going down into the ground the way that it should be. For me though, I look at those localized dry spots and I use something like that. Usually this happens for me around the driveway sections. Those are the areas that I'm using this type of method the most, just because I need to do some hand watering sometimes to those areas that get hotter faster right up against cement. Sometimes just the irrigation alone won't handle it. So this is not some kind of magic. This is really something that's used in the golf world, sports turf world. This probably isn't, though, a well-known thing in most home yards, or something that probably most homeowners don't use to make sure that you're using that water efficiently and it's soaking in well. So if you just wanted to even try out a process like this, you could go with something like a baby shampoo. That's not going to be as concentrated or probably as long lasting, but it would be something that if you just wanted to give this a shot, you could go that route too. Got myself a nice mark on here so I know where 4 gallons is for my sprayer. It's been 2 weeks since my last application of equalizer and Greener SP, so I'm going to go for another one of those tonight. I usually do every 2 weeks, every 2 to 3 weeks. It's my program on my low-cut turf because, remember, I want it to be consistently growing and even. I don't want any surges of a lot of granular put down that all of a sudden releases, so that's my program. I spray it on there. Works really well. I got some questions in the last video as well as to where I got this little thing, but you can get these just off Amazon or probably locally somewhere too. So I've said this before, but I really think that this stuff looks like pixie sticks, and it actually looks kind of appetizing, but you probably shouldn't try it. So today I'm also adding in, just in this measuring cup that I use, a little bit of fixer. This just makes sure that if you happen to have hard water or something, it's going to make sure the soluble is good to go. For the next thing, I'm going to be putting some Greener SP in here. This is our iron product that's also chelated with biostimulant, so you get an application of both. I've been seeing really great results from this, only a few applications of it so far, but another one coming tonight with the equalizer. But remember, this is a really fine product, so you want to make sure you're not in a windy environment. You want to make sure you don't take a big breath of all that powder in. So if you have a mask, it's not a bad idea to wear it if you want to. This is 1 to 2 ounces, so I think today I'll do 1.5 ounces per 1,000. So you shouldn't need to agitate this too much. So you'll see if you really start to agitate it, you'll get some foam, but it does break down in water pretty easily by itself. You can go ahead and do this, it's just, you will notice some foam up top. I'm gonna let that settle out before I spray, but not a big deal. A couple more things I'm gonna add to the tank tonight. This is stronger. This is a silica product, so what that is going to do is hopefully strengthen up those ryegrass leaves a bit, so they should cut slightly better as well. Also, I have Fighter here. This is a phosphite, so as we get into the Pythium season, especially for ryegrass, it can be pretty susceptible to that, so trying to prevent that with a phosphite is the method that I use every year to help with that, and it's been going well so far in the last couple seasons. So I'm going to go 3 ounces per 1,000 on this. So that would be 12